Hello, today I'm going to discuss about today I'm going to talk about the book I've been reading. I finished reading it today. Uh, its name is Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. I started reading this book at the beginning of this month. I read pretty slowly. I really like this book. I haven't read any English books recently, or any books, fictional or non-fictional, fiction non-fiction. The last one I read was in 2024, a long time ago. I found some parts of the book very interesting or amusing. I found one part very relatable in this book. Uh, Before I think should give, I think the first, if you haven't read this book, you can read this book. It's pretty. Uh, the wording isn't very complex. It's very simple, and the book I'm holding, this is a translated copy. It's not the main book is in Japanese. But I really enjoyed this. If I had to rate it out of 10, I would give it a solid 8. So I think if you haven't read this book, you can read this book. There is a sequel to this book. It's More Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. I haven't read it, but I plan on reading it. So that's all if you haven't read the book. Now, if you have read the book or don't have any problems with spoilers, then you can stay. On the first part, the book is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. In part 1, I found a part that said, here wait a bit, sorry. At a point, Takako, when she was living on the second floor of the Morisaki bookshop, uh, at some point, she started reading the books and started reading books, and it was a used bookshop. So she was, I mean, just she was she basically she was reading from a used bookshop, from a used book. She was reading a used book, uh, which had, and while reading she found that, she said, in this part it is said that, another time I happened to find a pressed flower someone had left as a bookmark. As I inhaled the scent of the long ago faded flower, I wondered about the person who had put it there. Who in the world was she? When did she live? What was she feeling? So I bought a math book in 2024, which also had a pressed flower which someone had left as a bookmark. So I also wondered, like her, what was the backstory, what might have been the backstory of that flower when I was reading that book. Another thing I realized while reading, this was in first part, but what I'm about to say is in the second part. uh, that in the final chapters of this book, uh, Takako and Momoko get on a picnic or tour, I suppose, and they get pretty close. And on that trip, Takako uh, gets to know the full story of Momoko from herself. I mean, Momoko told her uh, the whole story, why she left Takako's uncle Satoru. Momoko is Takako's aunt, by the way. So why did she leave her? So the entire story was very painful. Why she left her? Why she left him? So I think what goes on in someone's life is very hard to guess. So I don't think we should be insulting to someone in something about something which they really care about, or which would hurt them. I didn't realize it before, I realized it after reading it. But the best part of this book, which I found, was in part 1, and I think this was the best part of this entire book for me, at least. Wait, let me go on to that page. Here, Takako, who was had before in a relationship, she was cheated on, and so basically her uncle knows that. Her uncle's name is Satoru. He knows that. So when Momoko was leaving the bookshop in part 1, her uncle, before she left, her uncle told her this. Then he said, "Don't be afraid to love someone. When you fall in love, I want you to fall in love all the way. Even if it ends in heartache, please don't live a lonely life without love. I've been so worried that because of what happened, you'll end up on you will give up on falling in love. Love is wonderful. I don't want you to forget that. Those memories of people you love, they never disappear. They go on warming your heart as long as you live. When you get old like me, and you'll understand. How about it? Can you promise me? These lines felt like hit me to the core. I never realized this, and I would say I'm pretty unromantic, but these lines I cannot even explain, but I think this was the best part of the book. I and I think that's all. Maybe you can read it. You should read it actually. It's pretty good. Anyways, thank you. Bye.